Bem-vindo ao Deep Dumps. No Deep Dumps, nossa missão é ajudá-lo a passar nos exames de certificação com confiança. Acesse os exames de prática mais recentes, PDFs e testes online, sempre atualizados conforme os padrões reais. Com nosso material pronto para o exame, você terá os recursos certos sempre à mão. Milhares de alunos confiam no Deep Dumps, e muitos conquistam a aprovação já na primeira tentativa. Oferecemos suporte 24 de julho por e-mail ou chat ao vivo. E nossos especialistas estão prontos para esclarecer dúvidas e orientá-lo passo a passo. Baixe as perguntas e respostas em PDF. Pratique com questões de qualidade e explicações claras. E avance rumo ao sucesso garantido.
Question 1. You want to upload files from an on-premises virtual machine to Google Cloud Storage as part of a data migration. These files will be consumed by Cloud Data Proc Hadoop cluster in a GCP environment. Which command should you use? Option A. gsutilcp. Local object. gs. // Destination bucket name. / Option B. gcloudcp. Local object. gs. / Destination bucket name. / Option C. Hadoop FSCP. Local object. gs. / Destination bucket name. / Option D. gcloud data proc cp. Local object. gs. / Destination bucket name. / Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. gsutilcp. Local object. gs : / Destination bucket name. Question 2. You migrated your applications to Google Cloud Platform and kept your existing monitoring platform. You now find that your notification system is too slow for time-critical problems. What should you do? Option A. Replace your entire monitoring platform with Stackdriver. Option B. Install the Stackdriver agents on your compute engine instances. Option C. Use Stackdriver to capture an alert on logs. Then ship them to your existing platform. Option D. Migrate some traffic back to your old platform and perform A/B testing on the two platforms concurrently. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Use Stackdriver to capture an alert on logs. Then ship them to your existing platform. Question 3. You are planning to migrate a MySQL database to the managed Cloud SQL database for Google Cloud. You have Compute Engine virtual machine instances that will connect with this Cloud SQL instance. You do not want to whitelist IPs for the Compute Engine instances to be able to access Cloud SQL. What should you do? Option A. Enable private IP for the Cloud SQL instance. Option B. Whitelist a project to access Cloud SQL. And add Compute Engine instances in the whitelisted project. Option C. Create a role in Cloud SQL that allows access to the database from external instances. And assign the Compute Engine instances to that role. Option D. Create a Cloud SQL instance on one project. Create Compute Engine instances in a different project. Create a VPN between these two projects to allow internal access to Cloud SQL. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Enable private IP for the Cloud SQL instance. Question 4. You have deployed an HTTPS load balancer with the gcloud commands shown below. Health checks to port 80 on the Compute Engine virtual machine instance are failing and no traffic is sent to your Instances. You want to resolve the problem. Which commands should you run? Option A. G-Cloud Compute Instances add access config $name, backend instance -1. Option B. G-Cloud Compute Instances add tags $name, backend instance 1, tags HTTP server. Option C. G-Cloud Compute Firewall Rules Create Allow LB, Network Load Balancer, Allow TCP, Source Ranges. 130.211. 020 seconds. 35. 191. 016. Direction Ingress. Option D. G-Cloud Compute Firewall Rules Create Allow LB, Network Load Balancer, Allow TCP, Destination Ranges. 130.211. 020 seconds. 35. 191. 016. Direction Egress. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. G-Cloud Compute Firewall Rules Create Allow LB, Network Load Balancer, Allow TCP, Source Ranges. 130.211. 020 seconds. 35. 191. 016. Direction Ingress. Question 5. Your website is deployed on Compute Engine. Your marketing team wants to test conversion rates between 3 different website designs. Which approach should you use? Option A. Deploy the website on App Engine and use traffic splitting. Option B. Deploy the website on App Engine as 3 separate services. Option C. Deploy the website on Cloud Functions and use traffic splitting. Option D. Deploy the website on Cloud Functions as 3 separate functions. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Deploy the website on App Engine and use traffic splitting. Question 6. You need to copy directory local scripts and all of its contents from your local workstation to a Compute Engine virtual machine instance. Which command should you use? Option A. gsutil cp, project my GCP project r tilde, local scripts, GCP instance name. Tilde, server scripts, zone us east 1b. Option B. gsutil cp, project my GCP project r tilde, local scripts, GCP instance name. Tilde, server scripts, zone us east 1b. Option C. G-Cloud Compute SCP, project my GCP project, recurse tilde, local scripts, GCP instance name. Tilde, server scripts, zone us east 1b. Option D. G-Cloud Compute MV, project my GCP project, recurse tilde, local scripts, GCP instance name. Tilde, server scripts, zone us east 1b. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. G-Cloud Compute SCP, project my GCP project, recurse tilde, local scripts, GCP instance name. Tilde, server scripts, zone us east 1b. Question 7. You are deploying your application to a Compute Engine virtual machine instance with the Stackdriver monitoring agent installed. Your application is a Unix process on the instance. You want to be alerted if the Unix process has not run for at least 5 minutes. You are not able to change the application to generate metrics or logs. Which alert condition should you configure? Option A. Uptime check. Option B. Process health. Option C. Metric absence. Option D. Metric threshold. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Process health. Question 8. You have two tables in an ANSI SQL compliant database with identical columns that you need to quickly combine into a single table, removing duplicate rows from the result set. What should you do? Option A. Use the join operator in SQL to combine the tables. Option B. Use nested with statements to combine the tables. Option C. Use the union operator in SQL to combine the tables. Option D. Use the union all operator in SQL to combine the tables. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Use the union operator in SQL to combine the tables. Question 9. You have an application deployed in production. When a new version is deployed, some issues don't arise until the application receives traffic from users in production. You want to reduce both the impact and the number of users affected. Which deployment strategy should you use? Option A. Blue-green deployment. Option B. Canary deployment. Option C. Rolling deployment. Option D. Recreate deployment. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Canary deployment. Question 10. Your company wants to expand their users outside the United States for their popular application. The company wants to ensure 99.999% availability of the database for their application and also wants to minimize the read latency for their users across the globe. Which two actions should they take? Choose 2. Option A. Create a multi-regional cloud spanner instance with NAM Asia or 1-inch configuration. Option B. Create a multi-regional cloud spanner instance with NAM 3 configuration. Option C. Create a cluster with at least 3 spanner nodes. Option D. Create a cluster with at least 1 spanner node. Option E. Create a minimum of 2 cloud spanner instances in separate regions with at least 1 node. Option F. Create a cloud data flow pipeline to replicate data across different databases. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Create a multi-regional cloud spanner instance with NAM Asia or 1-inch configuration. Option C. Create a cluster with at least 3 spanner nodes. Question 11. You need to migrate an internal file upload API with an enforced 500 MB file size limit to App Engine. What should you do? Option A. Use FTP to upload files. Option B. Use cPanel to upload files. Option C. Use signed URLs to upload files. Option D. Change the API to be a multi-part file upload API. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Use signed URLs to upload files. Question 12. Your teammate has asked you to review the code below. Its purpose is to efficiently add a large number of small rows to a big query table. Which improvement should you suggest your teammate make? Option A. Include multiple rows with each request. Option B. Perform the inserts in parallel by creating multiple threads. Option C. Write each row to a cloud storage object. Then load into BigQuery. Option D. Write each row to a cloud storage object in parallel. Then load into BigQuery. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Include multiple rows with each request. Question 13. You are developing a JPEG image resizing API hosted on Google Kubernetes Engine. GKE. Callers of the service will exist within the same GKE cluster. You want clients to be able to get the IP address of the service. What should you do? Option A. Define a GKE service. Clients should use the name of the A record in Cloud DNS to find the service's cluster IP address. Option B. Define a GKE service. Clients should use the service name in the URL to connect to the service. Option C. Define a GKE endpoint. Clients should get the endpoint name from the appropriate environment variable in the client container. Option D. Define a GKE endpoint. Clients should get the endpoint name from Cloud DNS. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Define a GKE service. Clients should use the service name in the URL to connect to the service. Question 14. You are using Cloud Build to build and test application source code stored in Cloud Source repositories. The build process requires a build tool not available in the Cloud Build environment. What should you do? Option A. Download the binary from the internet during the build process. Option B. Build a custom Cloud Builder image and reference the image in your build steps. Option C. Include the binary in your Cloud Source repository's repository and reference it in your build scripts. Option D. Ask to have the binary added to the Cloud Build environment by filing a feature request against the Cloud Build public issue tracker. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Build a custom Cloud Builder image and reference the image in your build steps. Question 15. You are deploying your application to a compute engine virtual machine instance. Your application is configured to write its log files to disk. You want to view the logs in Stackdriver logging without changing the application code. What should you do? Option A. Install the Stackdriver logging agent and configure it to send the application logs. Option B. Use a Stackdriver logging library to log directly from the application to Stackdriver logging. Option C. Provide the log file folder path in the metadata of the instance to configure it to send the application logs. Option D. Change the application to logged var logs so that its logs are automatically sent to Stackdriver logging. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Install the Stackdriver logging agent and configure it to send the application logs. Question 16. Your service adds text to images that it reads from cloud storage. During busy times of the year, requests to cloud storage fail with an HTTP 429, too many requests, status code. How should you handle this error? Option A. Add a cache control header to the objects. Option B. Request a quota increase from the GCP console. Option C. Retry the request with a truncated exponential backoff strategy. Option D. Change the storage class of the cloud storage bucket to multi-regional. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Retry the request with a truncated exponential backoff strategy. Question 17. You are building an API that will be used by Android and iOS apps. The API must support HTTPs, minimize bandwidth cost, integrate easily with mobile apps. Which API architecture should you use? Option A. RESTful APIs. Option B. MQTT for APIs. Option C. gRPC-based APIs. Option D. SOAP-based APIs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. gRPC-based APIs. Question 18. Your application takes an input from a user and publishes it to the user's contacts. This input is stored in a table in Cloud Spanner. Your application is more sensitive to latency and less sensitive to consistency. How should you perform reads from Cloud Spanner for this application? Option A. Perform read-only transactions. Option B. Perform stale reads using single read methods. Option C. Perform strong reads using single read methods. Option D. Perform stale reads using read-write transactions. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Perform stale reads using single read methods. Question 19. Your application is deployed in a Google Kubernetes Engine (GKE) cluster. When a new version of your application is released, your CI/CD tool updates the spec, template, spec, containers, image value to reference the Docker image of your new application version. When the deployment object applies the change, you want to deploy at least one replica of the new version and maintain the previous replicas until the new replica is healthy. Which change should you make to the GKE deployment object shown below? Option A. Set the deployment strategy to rolling update with max surge set to 0. Max unavailable set to 1. Option B. Set the deployment strategy to rolling update with max surge set to 1. Max unavailable set to 0. Option C. Set the deployment strategy to recreate with max surge set to 0. Max unavailable set to 1. Option D. Set the deployment strategy to recreate with max surge set to 1. Max unavailable set to 0. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Set the deployment strategy to rolling update with max surge set to 1. Max unavailable set to 0. Question 20. You plan to make a simple HTML application available on the internet. This site keeps information about facts for your application. The application is static and contains images, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You want to make this application available on the internet with as few steps as possible. What should you do? Option A. Upload your application to cloud storage. Option B. Upload your application to an App Engine environment. Option C. Create a Compute Engine instance with Apache Web Server installed. Configure Apache Web Server to host the application. Option D. Containerize your application first. Deploy this container to Google Kubernetes Engine (GKE) and assign an external IP address to the GKE pod hosting the application. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Upload your application to cloud storage. Question 21. Your company has deployed a new API to App Engine standard environment. During testing, the API is not behaving as expected. You want to monitor the application over time to diagnose the problem within the application code without redeploying a application. Which tool should you use? Option A. Stackdriver Trace. Option B. Stackdriver Monitoring. Option C. Stackdriver Debug Snapshots. Option D. Stackdriver Debug Log Points. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Stackdriver Debug Log Points. Question 22. You want to use the Stackdriver logging agent to send an application's log file to Stackdriver from a Compute Engine virtual machine instance. After installing the Stackdriver logging agent, what should you do first? Option A. Enable the error reporting API on the project. Option B. Grant the instance full access to all cloud APIs. Option C. Configure the application log file as a custom source. Option D. Create a Stackdriver logs export sync with a filter that matches the application's log entries. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Configure the application log file as a custom source. Question 23. Your company has a BigQuery data mart that provides analytics information to hundreds of employees. One user wants to run jobs without interrupting important workloads. This user isn't concerned about the time it takes to run these jobs. You want to fulfill this request while minimizing cost to the company and the effort required on your part. What should you do? Option A. Ask the user to run the jobs as batch jobs. Option B. Create a separate project for the user to run jobs. Option C. Add the user as a job user role in the existing project. Option D. Allow the user to run jobs when important workloads are not running. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Ask the user to run the jobs as batch jobs. Question 24. You want to notify on-call engineers about a service degradation in production while minimizing development time. What should you do? Option A. Use Cloud function to monitor resources and raise alerts. Option B. Use Cloud pub sub to monitor resources and raise alerts. Option C. Use Stack driver error reporting to capture errors and raise alerts. Option D. Use Stack driver monitoring to monitor resources and raise alerts. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Use Stack driver monitoring to monitor resources and raise alerts. Question 25. You are writing a single-page web application with a user interface that communicates with a third-party API for content using XML HTTP request. The data displayed on the UI by the API results is less critical than other data displayed on the same web page. So it is acceptable for some requests to not have the API data displayed in the UI. However, calls made to the API should not delay rendering of other parts of the user interface. You want your application to perform well when the API response is an error or a timeout. What should you do? Option A. Set the asynchronous option for your requests to the API to false and omit the widget displaying the API results when a timeout or error is encountered. Option B. Set the asynchronous option for your request to the API to true and omit the widget displaying the API results when a timeout or error is encountered. Option C. Catch timeout or error exceptions from the API call and keep trying with exponential backoff until the API response is successful. Option D. Catch timeout or error exceptions from the API call and display the error response in the UI widget. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Set the asynchronous option for your request to the API to true and omit the widget displaying the API results when a timeout or error is encountered. Question 26. You are creating a web application that runs in a compute engine instance and writes a file to any user's Google Drive. You need to configure the application to authenticate to the Google Drive API. What should you do? Option A. Use an OAuth client ID that uses the HTTPS www.googleapps.com auth drive file scope to obtain an access token for each user. Option B. Use an OAuth client ID with delegated domain-wide authority. Option C. Use the App Engine Service account and HTTPS www.googleapps.com auth drive file scope to generate a signed JSON web token. JWT. Option D. Use the App Engine Service account with delegated domain-wide authority. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Use an OAuth client ID that uses the HTTPS www Google Apps. Com. Auth. Drive. File scope to obtain an access token for each user. Question 27. You are creating a Google Kubernetes engine. GKE. Cluster and run this command. The command fails with the error. You want to resolve the issue. What should you do? Option A. Request additional GKE quota in the GCP console. Option B. Request additional compute engine quota in the GCP console. Option C. Open a support case to request additional GKE quota. Option D. Decouple services in the cluster and rewrite new clusters to function with fewer cores. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Request additional compute engine quota in the GCP console. Question 28. You are parsing a log file that contains 3 columns: a timestamp, an account number, a string, and a transaction amount, a number. You want to calculate the sum of all transaction amounts for each unique account number efficiently. Which data structure should you use? Option A. A linked list. Option B. A hash table. Option C. A two-dimensional array. Option D. A comma delimited string. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. A hash table. Question 29. Your company has a BigQuery dataset named Master that keeps information about employee travel in expenses. This information is organized by employee department. That means employees should only be able to view information for their department. You want to apply a security framework to enforce this requirement with the minimum number of steps. What should you do? Option A. Create a separate dataset for each department. Create a view with an appropriate where clause to select records from a particular dataset for the specific department. Authorize this view to access records from your master dataset. Give employees the permission to this department-specific dataset. Option B. Create a separate dataset for each department. Create a data pipeline for each department to copy appropriate information from the master dataset to the specific dataset for the department. Give employees the permission to this department-specific dataset. Option C. Create a dataset named Master Dataset. Create a separate view for each department in the master dataset. Give employees access to the specific view for their department. Option D. Create a dataset named Master Dataset. Create a separate table for each department in the master dataset. Give employees access to the specific table for their department. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Create a dataset named Master Dataset. Create a separate view for each department in the master dataset. Give employees access to the specific view for their department. Question 30. You have an application in production. It is deployed on compute engine virtual machine instances controlled by a managed instance group. Traffic is routed to the instances via a HTTPS load balancer. Your users are unable to access your application. You want to implement a monitoring technique to alert you when the application is unavailable. Which technique should you choose? Option A. Smoke tests. Option B. Stack driver uptime checks. Option C. Cloud load balancing, heat checks. Option D. Managed instance group, heat checks. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Stack driver uptime checks. Question 31. You are load testing your server application. During the first 30 seconds, you observe that a previously inactive cloud storage bucket is now servicing 2000 write requests per second and 7500 read requests per Second, your application is now receiving intermittent 5xx and 429 HTTP responses from the cloud storage JSON API is the demand. Escalates. You want to decrease the failed responses from the cloud storage API. What should you do? Option A. Distribute the uploads across a large number of individual storage buckets. Option B. Use the XML API instead of the JSON API for interfacing with cloud storage. Option C. Pass the HTTP response codes back to clients that are invoking the uploads from your application. Option D. Limit the upload rate from your application clients so that the dormant bucket's peak request rate is reached more gradually. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Limit the upload rate from your application clients so that the dormant bucket's peak request rate is reached more gradually. Question 32. Your application is controlled by a managed instance group. You want to share a large read-only dataset between all the instances in the managed instance group. You want to ensure that each instance can start quickly and can access the dataset via its file system with very low latency. You also want to minimize the total cost of the solution. What should you do? Option A. Move the data to a cloud storage bucket and mount the bucket on the file system using Cloud Storage Fuse. Option B. Move the data to a cloud storage bucket and copy the data to the boot disk of the instance via a startup script. Option C. Move the data to a compute engine persistent disk and attach the disk in read-only mode to multiple compute engine virtual machine instances. Option D. Move the data to a compute engine persistent disk. Take a snapshot. Create multiple disks from the snapshot and attach each disk to its own instance. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Move the data to a compute engine persistent disk and attach the disk in read-only mode to multiple compute engine virtual machine instances. Question 33. You are developing an HTTP API hosted on a compute engine virtual machine instance that needs to be invoked by multiple clients within the same virtual private cloud VPC. You want clients to be able to get the IP address of the service. What should you do? Option A. Reserve a static external IP address and assign it to an HTTP load balancing services forwarding rule. Clients should use this IP address to connect to the service. Option B. Reserve a static external IP address and assign it to an HTTP load balancing services forwarding rule. Then, define an A record in Cloud DNS. Clients should use the name of the A record to connect to the service. Option C. Ensure that clients use Compute Engine internal DNS by connecting to the instance name with the URL https://instance name, zone, c, project ID, internal. Option D. Ensure that clients use Compute Engine internal DNS by connecting to the instance name with the URL https://API name, /API version, / Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. Ensure that clients use Compute Engine internal DNS by connecting to the instance name with the URL https://instance name, zone, c, project ID, internal. Question 34. Your application is logging to Stackdriver. You want to get the count of all requests on all API, alpha, * endpoints. What should you do? Option A. Add a Stackdriver counter metric for path API, alpha. Option B. Add a stack driver counter metric for endpoint. A p, alpha, asterisk. Option C. Export the logs to cloud storage and count lines matching, a p, alpha. Option D. Export the logs to cloud pub, sub and count lines matching, a p, alpha. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Add a stack driver counter metric for endpoint skeptical smiley face, a p, alpha, asterisk. Question 35. You want to re-architect a monolithic application so that it follows a microservices model. You want to accomplish this efficiently while minimizing the impact of this change to the business. Which approach should you take? Option A. Deploy the application to compute engine and turn on auto-scaling. Option B. Replace the application's features with appropriate microservices in phases. Option C. Refactor the monolithic application with appropriate microservices in a single effort and deploy it. Option D. Build a new application with the appropriate microservices separate from the monolith and replace it when it is complete. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Replace the application's features with appropriate microservices in phases. Question 36. Your existing application keeps user state information in a single MySQL database. This state information is very user-specific and depends heavily on how long a user has been using an application. The MySQL database is causing challenges to maintain and enhance the schema for various users. Which storage option should you choose? Option A. Cloud SQL. Option B. Cloud storage. Option C. Cloud spanner. Option D. Cloud data store, file store. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Cloud data store, file store. Question 37. You are building a new API. You want to minimize the cost of storing and reduce the latency of serving images. Which architecture should you use? Option A. App Engine backed by cloud storage. Option B. Compute Engine backed by persistent disk. Option C. Transfer Appliance backed by Cloud File Store. Option D. Cloud Content Delivery Network. CDN. Backed by cloud storage. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Cloud Content Delivery Network, CDN, backed by cloud storage. Question 38. Your company's development teams want to use Cloud Build in their projects to build and push Docker images to container registry. The operations team requires all Docker images to be published to a centralized, securely managed Docker registry that the operations team manages. What should you do? Option A. Use container registry to create a registry in each development team's project. Configure the Cloud build to push the Docker image to the project's registry. Grant the operations team access to each development team's registry. Option B. Create a separate project for the operations team that has container registry configured. Assign appropriate permissions to the Cloud Build service account in each developer team's project to allow access to the operation team's registry. Option C. Create a separate project for the operations team that has container registry configured. Create a service account for each development team and assign the appropriate permissions to allow it access to the operations team's registry. Store the service account key file in the source code repository and use it to authenticate against the operations team's registry. Option D. Create a separate project for the operations team that has the open source Docker registry deployed on a compute engine virtual machine instance. Create a username and password for each development team. Store the username and password in the source code repository and use it to authenticate against the operations team's Docker registry. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Create a separate project for the operations team that has container registry configured. Assign appropriate permissions to the Cloud Build Service account in each developer team's project to allow access to the operation team's registry. Question 39. You are planning to deploy your application in a Google Kubernetes engine GKE cluster. Your application can scale horizontally, and each instance of your application needs to have a stable network identity and its own persistent disk. Which GKE object should you use? Option A. Deployment. Option B. Stateful set. Option C. Replica set. Option D. Replica controller. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Stateful set.